Hello, Facebook. I was thinking about sharing another part of my testimony with you all. I don't think I've ever shared this uh, on Facebook anyway. It's pretty personal, so I've been really praying about it, sharing it for a while now, and I feel like God's asking me to do that tonight. And so when I got saved in the 90s, the first time I went to prison, some of you that's seen my testimony or know me know that I got saved in prison, radically saved, and I've not been the same since. I haven't served him that whole time, but I am now and have been for about 11 years. But so back to where I was in right after I got saved, radically saved. I was an unbeliever up until a week, maybe 2 weeks before I had this dream. But I had a dream one night while I was in prison, and in the dream I was in this little Honda Civic that I used to own in real life, and the headlights were off. I was going down a hill on the paved road, and I was in the left lane, but in my dream that was completely normal. And when I got to the bottom of the hill, I met a car coming towards me, and right at the bottom of the hill, all of a sudden, I'm in the right lane, my headlights are on, and he's in his lane, and we go past each other. And so that was my life, basically. I was going downhill all my life until I met the Lord at the bottom of the hill, at the very lowest point in my life. Here I am in prison, not even believing in God, and all of a sudden now he's real, and Jesus has saved me, and I'm going to be going to heaven one day. And so at the bottom of that hill is at the lowest point in my life. I meet Jesus, and now I'm in the right lane with my headlights on. I can see because he is the light and truth. And so anyway, I go around another corner to the left, and I start up this really steep hill. And when I got to the top of it, the road went almost straight down. And I remember that I actually I stuck my head up into the windshield over the steering wheel, trying to see the road, like looking over the hood of the car, and I couldn't. It was so steep I couldn't even see the road. And I remember saying in my mind, okay, Lord, you take the wheel. And I let go of the wheel because I couldn't see to steer. I didn't know where to go, so I just let go and trusted the Lord to take care of me. And I remember the car started spinning all the way down that hill in circles, around and around, just spinning around and around. It never left the pavement, and not one time did I ever feel any fear. I knew that God was taking care of me and that I was going to be fine, and it was just like a peaceful time almost. And so when I get to the bottom of the hill, I just kind of slide off the right side of the road, but my car's facing the direction that I had been coming from. I look out the window of my car, and there's a big field to the left and a full moon, and at the edge of the field over there was this motorcycle that I had years ago. And then the next thing I remember is I heard and said, "That's the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life." And for a second, I didn't even know where it was coming from. And then I realized I had these earphones, these little earphones in my ears. And I took them off. I set them down. And I was like, whoa. because I remember thinking, what was that I just heard? All I know, it was the most beautiful music I ever heard in my life. I said it out loud, and I know that that's what it was, but I couldn't figure out what the actual sound was or music I was hearing. And so I step out of the car, and I walk around to the back, and there's this angel or God himself or Jesus. I don't know. I just know I was in the presence of God. And I think it was probably the angel of the Lord, which is Jesus himself, in an angel form. Maybe, I don't know. All I know is he grabbed me by the shoulders, and this being was probably 7 feet tall, at least, and quite a bit bigger than me. Very bright light. Really, it's almost like God was in control of the whole dream. So it's like he in my mind too at the time. So it's like that part's what it actually looked like was. That's all I know about it. It was a bright being, that it was the presence of God, a holy being. And when he touched me and grabbed me by my shoulders, it felt so good that it was overwhelmingly just, it was the best thing that I've ever had, like physical touch. Someone touched me. It's just like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it was really, really good. And he picked me up by my shoulders and started shaking me. And that felt even better. And just because of who it was, and there was no fear. I knew it. He wasn't there to harm me. He was there because he loved me, and he was trying to tell me something. And he did. He said, "Buddy, you're going to heaven. Live for the Lord." And then bam, that was the end of the dream. And I wake up, and it's in the middle of the night. I'm looking around. I'm in prison, and there's like, in the room I was in, there was only like 10 people in there, and they were all sleeping. But someone was whispering the same thing the angel said to me. Live for the Lord. Live for the Lord. Over and over. And I was like, whoa, who is saying that, man? And I was looking around trying to figure out who it was. And I realized it was coming from my own lips. And I was like, whoa, this is so wild, man. So, fast forward. Some of you know what happened after that, but I got out of prison. I ended up getting back on drugs worse than ever before, and it was tormenting because now I'm going to hell. Before I didn't even believe in hell. Now there's a hell, and I'm going to go there one day from shooting up meth, so here I am in all this like torment. And I would say a year after I got out, maybe a little more, I was selling a lot of meth and very scared of getting in trouble. And so, I had been living in town selling this drug for several months. And so I was very paranoid, very scared, couldn't sleep, just because I was too scared to go to sleep because, I had to be awake to make sure nobody got me, busted me. So anyway, some friends came by that lived out in the country on the river road, they call it in Durham, and they lived on the river road there next to the river on a dirt road. And I asked them, I said, man, just take me out of here, man. I got to get out of this place, man. I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. So, and I was talking to God. I had been at that time in my life when I was first falling away from him the first couple of 3 or 4 years. I would cry and pray and ask him to help me, and he would, but but I really hadn't heard like anything from him, like his voice anymore, of course. And so they take me out to and I was really high, but they took me out to the on that dirt road, and I asked them just to drop me off, and they just dropped me off, and it's in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it's dark, but it was a full moon. And I got down into the riverbed, and because the river was like really down low. It must have been. It was kind of chilly though, but it must have been, right at the end of the year. Uh, but there wasn't a lot of water in it in the river, so you could actually walk down beside the river into the river bed, and so the river bank was like 8 foot high. So you're down in the hole, walking. I was walking up the river, right beside the water, and I saw this. There was a rock in the middle of the river sticking up, and I waded through the water. Which was only a foot deep, maybe. And I laid down on this rock. It was just big enough for me to lay down on. It was just like God put it there for me, And He did. He knew it was going to happen. So that's how awesome God is. But I didn't know what was going to happen next. But when I laid down and I looked up and I saw the stars and the moon and the sky, it was just like I had never seen it before. It was like I saw it for the first time in my life of how beautiful it was. And in that moment, the beauty of God, looking at His beauty, took away the feeling, like the physical feeling that I had from the drug I was on. I had been on it for a long time, and I had just did quite a bit of meth, and and it was gone. It was just gone, and all I could feel was God's love for me, His beauty. I was looking at His beauty and I was like, wow, God, you are so beautiful. I can't even feel the drug I'm on right now. I can't even feel it. And for you to do this while I'm high and love on me like this, and it just, I couldn't believe it. It was just almost more than I could comprehend, But in those moments, I could think again. I could feel, I had peace, and He was just comforting me with His, and He was talking to me. He was saying, look at how beautiful I am. Just looking at my beauty is stronger than the drug that you're on. That's what He was trying to tell me. And man, I was just like blown away. And so I don't know how long I laid there, but it was more than just a few minutes. It felt like just a few minutes, but I'm sure it was a few hours. Because all of a sudden I got cold, and I was like, wow, man, it's getting cold out here. And I stood up, and water was dripping off of me. I was laying in the water. The river was coming up. I don't know if it's because there was a full moon or if it was raining up the river somewhere in Madison County. I don't know. But anyway, whatever it was, man, it was just like, even that was just like cool, because I couldn't believe I was laid there that long, and didn't even know I was getting wet. I was just cold. And so I stood up, still just high on God in His beauty. I was just amazed. The drugs were gone, man. I couldn't feel anything except God's love for me because of how beautiful He was. And I started walking back down the river in the riverbed, and all of a sudden I see these little lights, like probably, I don't know, several hundred, in an area about a 3-foot square circle on the river bank. And I got real close, and I didn't have I finally got a lighter, and I lit it, and I could see what it was. Because at first I thought I was hallucinating, but I thought, no, I'm not hallucinating, because I'm not really even on drugs anymore. It's like, so I was like sobered up, man. And so I knew whatever it was real, and I got my lighter and I saw what it was. It was baby lightning bugs. They didn't have their wings all the way yet. They had part of their wings, and they weren't blinking either. They were just, the lights were on. And so I was just like, when I was a kid, and you can ask my parents this if you know them, but or any of my family could tell you, I was amazed by anything that was alive. I caught almost every single bug, whether it was in a jar or with my hands. Every single creature that would let me catch it, I caught it. And so I was amazed by bugs too, all my life, and I still like to look at them. But I did, and God was just like loving on me even more through that. I just couldn't believe that He would show me just care that much about me, because he knew that about me. He knew that I would like that. And for him to do that in the state I was and me running from him, it was just more than I could almost bear, man. And but I was enjoying it. I was enjoying this peace and comfort. And I got up on the road, climbed up the riverbank, got up on the road, and I was walking down the dirt road next to the river. And all of a sudden, I heard something, and I said, not even knowing that I was going to say it or even thinking about it, it was just like, it came out of my mouth. That's the most beautiful music I ever heard in my life. The very words that I said about a year ago in prison when I had that dream. And I had the headphones on, and I said, that's the most beautiful music I ever heard in my life. And I was just like, whoa. I said that in the dream. What is that I'm hearing? Because now I'm really hearing it in real life. And so, man, I had to actually concentrate and like, what is that I'm hearing? And then it dawned on me, it was the river flowing beside me. That's what I was hearing. And then I remembered different Bible scriptures about God's voice. It sounds like many waters. His voice is on the waters. And there's several scriptures about his voice sounding like water and being on the water. And so, man, I just get so blown away at God's mercy on us, man. He is just so merciful. Even in the midst of my addiction, he would come and love on me and say, hey, man, let me just show you how powerful I am. You think the drug you're on is fun and great and feels good? Yeah. Well, let me show you something real quick. It ain't got nothing on what I have. And he's right, and he was right. And anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. God is so good, man. He is so good. He's worth it all. There's nothing but greater in this whole life than his presence and knowing that he sent his son on this earth to die for us so that we don't have to die. I'm not going to die. I'm going to live forever with him, my creator. I'm going to be in heaven. I'm going to see Jesus. I'm going to hold his hand. I'm going to give him a hug, and God too. And I'm going to thank them for saving me and being so merciful to me. And I'm also going to thank him for Facebook and smartphones. God bless you guys.